And Hricsina disposed of Gus Marsala in game number 1, 258-203 the final. Hricsina comes out against Don Johnson, picks up right where he left off with a strike in the first frame on lane 15.
Yeah, would he finish 8 in a row the last game and just continue striking this game?
Boy, turn back the hands of time a little bit here for Don Johnson. 1978, his last appearance on national television. Truly one of the greats of all time.
And he was great in the clutch and great on television. He had tremendous performances.
Comes out, light hit, needs a strike and gets it. That'll loosen up the arm swing.
Well, Coco was always the type that was a fidgety type player. He was nervous. He had a little mannerisms here and there. But when it came time to throw the shot, he could always respond.
Match I'll never, ever forget. I was working across the street as a busboy at Ballin's Diner the day that he shot .299 at the Firestone. I had the little television in the back. I went crazy. What a great match. Who knows? May see it again as he opens with a double here in his first appearance.
You remember who he beat?
Sure I do. Dick Ricker shot .268.
You know who Ricker beat the game before?
Well, the guy that missed the 5-pin a couple of minutes ago.
That's why he lost. He couldn't make the 5-pin.
That was a tremendous show, wasn't it? Ooh, my. That must have been fun for you just watching, huh? Soft hit. Hricsina leaves
the 10-pin.
All right.
Every shot he's had in the pocket. He finished the last game with 8 and started here with 9. He was going for an Andy Barapapa.
Which is 12 in a row in any game, in any bowling center, in any practice.
Anytime.
Right.
Just 12 in a row.
I completely agree with him. Hard and straight at the 10. Don Johnson leads by 10.
Don Johnson using a brand new ball here, it looks like, for the television show. He's had 5 different balls drilled up this week. Ron Hoppe, another senior player out here, has changed his weights and changed the pitch in his thumb a little bit to enable him to feel better about how his ball is rolling. Is he going to fall?
Boy, oh boy, what do you have to do to the 7-pin to finally get it to drop?
Well, remember he started the last game like this and just took an error on his opponent's part for him to get going. So he's got the pocket down. It's just a matter of whether he's going to knock down 10 or 9 or what.
The 11 pins now the lead for Don Johnson, who spends the majority of his time when he's not on the senior tour out in Las Vegas.
At a place called Arizona Charlie's. He's an instructor there. He's been there for the last 16 years.
Loose swing. Needs the reaction, the wall hit, and it doesn't quite respond as he leaves the 7-pin.
And many times with a brand new ball like this that's shiny, it doesn't quite the lane as much as a ball that's been tracked in, and that's what's happening with Don. I think actually he's getting just a little bit too much skid with this ball right now.
Completely different approach. Don going with the polished ball, a little straighter up and at him, and John Hricsina trying to circle it with a softer ball.
Yeah, it's a different philosophy. 5-step player. The thing to notice here, Denny, is you watch him step. Watch how quickly he gets the ball into the swing. There's the first step. Now he pushes it out. Straight arm swing. It's into the swing already. Watch how quickly it's into the backswing. He's at the peak now, and he has to catch up in the nice long slide. Watch the follow-through. Went in and then back out. Not his best follow-through. Same thing again, that follow-through in and out. Yesterday, he wasn't going in. It was just straight through and out to the right. And here's the normal speed of Coco in his approach.
Well, you've always told me when the arm goes left, the ball's going to end up going right.
And the 2-5 is what he left.
Picks it up. And the match now stands at 8 pins. Hricsina trailing at this stage.
See, what that tells me in Coco's mind is he doesn't feel that he can trust that ball to the right and it's going to come back, so he's trying to help it in there.
And the more the help you give it, the worse it gets. You got it. Meanwhile, Hricsina goes out, circles it, comes back with an X. He'd like to double and take the lead.
See, you watch the difference in the 2 follow-throughs. Johns goes to the right because he knows when he throws that ball right, it's coming back. He's trusting it all the way. So even though he's trailing in this match, I think the advantage is with Hricsina right now because he's just confident in how he played in the lanes. I don't think Don Johnson is. See that follow through? Ooh. Just gotten some bad breaks there, Denny. 10 pins, 7 pin, a couple of 7 pins. Light hits just not carrying. They could carry.
Well, he's yet to miss the pocket now in a game and a half, so he's locked in terms of feeling free, and I think he's got a pretty good approach to what he wants to do game plan-wise on this championship round here. Now it's a question of carry, which is usually what it comes down to.
Well, it's easy to knock down 9 out here, but 10 sometimes is more difficult.
Well, let's see if Don Johnson can adjust the arm swing or whatever he needs to do to get a little more of a solid pocket hit. Well, see, that one went a little to the right, and there was a better reaction.
Slightly better, but it's still not biting the lane as much as the ball you used yesterday. It's hitting the pocket, and again, if we'd see a replay of that, you'd see that ball you talked about, Marcella's ball deflecting to the right. That ball deflected quite a bit to the right, too.
Well, Coco reaches into the bag for perhaps another answer, although he will shoot the spare with this ball.
No trouble with the 10 pin. Here's what we'll watch. Watch this ball deflect to the right. See how much it deflects? It barely got the 5 pin out. He almost let the 5-10. That's how much that ball deflected.
Mopping down a little bit. Warm out there on the championship round pair, especially when you haven't been there in 13 years. Johnson leads by 7 at the halfway point. Light again, 2-4-5, and the 4-pin finally falls, so he stares at the 2-5 for the second consecutive time.
It's hanging on. That lead's getting smaller and smaller frame by frame there. Made the spare back in the 4th frame, so he shouldn't have any trouble making it now. Although, whenever you got 2 of them up there instead of 1, it's more difficult.
Don won 12 of his last 14 matches. Qualified for the telecast. Picks off the 2 and the 5 one more time. And we'll take a break here just past the midway point and take a look at how they've stacked up earnings-wise here on the PBA Senior Tour.
New Mountain Fresh style.
And while we were away, John Hricsina struck in the 6th and left the 4-pin in the 7th, and the match stands at +5 for Don Johnson.
Switch balls, Denny.
Ball climbed up a little bit. Still a very light hit. Don has yet to really throw a flush strike. And earlier this evening, I asked him if he was more nervous about appearing in the championship round or when he watched his son win the Memorial Open earlier this year.
Well, there's no doubt I'd probably be nervous, but when Jimmy won the Brunswick World Open, that was the greatest day of my life. I'll tell you what, well, when he pointed that camera and said, "That's for you, Dad," I started crying, I'll have to admit, and I'm not ashamed to admit that. That was the greatest day of my life when Jimmy won.
And Coco comes back with a solid double, so he used that commercial break to switch balls.
Well, you can see that ball wants to finish more, and in your mind, when you know that you can throw it to the right and it's going to come back, it just makes you throw it better. You don't steer it.
Lead is 15. Hricsina, who really hasn't had much luck thus far in this match, needs to start striking, and he does with an X on 15.
And he has to strike on lane 15 right now. Has no strikes on this lane this game except for the first frame, and no time to wait. Down 15, can cut it to 5 with 1 here.
John with a possible 229 if he would strike out from the 9th frame. Don Johnson, though, could shoot 244.
John usually responds well in these kinds of situations.
Plenty of lift. Excellent shot. Couldn't have been any better.
That's one reason why he's such a great bowler. In the position round last night, he left a 2-4-10. Switch balls to that orange ball made it lickety split. I mean, he just, in pressure situations, he does it. So does this man, though.
Oh, he's down on one knee, and he asked for a strike and got it. Don Coco Johnson with a 3-bagger.
And you see the difference in the follow-through, the difference in the confidence. He's a different bowler with this ball. And of course, we all are. I mean, it's not just You know, when you don't trust that that ball's going to come back, you steer it up there.
Made the adjustment in the 7th frame, and since that time has thrown 3 in a row.
And can lock this game up with one more strike here in the 10th frame. Ooh, threw it nice, too, Danny.
Tough break. Now he'll just have to pick up the 10, get as many as possible, and keep his fingers crossed.
Switches to another ball to make the spare, one that's a little lower surface friction, so that it will go straighter, and he can throw right at the 10 pin. No mistakes now. Very solid game after 14 years without being on television. Comes right in here, a clean game with a strike here. It's 223. Remains to be seen whether it's going to be enough.
Hair's a little thinner, perhaps a little gray, but
the heart's the same.
Oh, I'm going to tell you. You don't forget. Just have to kick start up a little bit. He throws some shots down the stretch or what?
Since he switched that other ball.
Oh, boy. John Hricsina takes a good look at the scoreboard as Rich Weber shows him what the tally is. Don Johnson with 223. Meanwhile, Hricsina needs 2 strikes and some count.
And takes a re-rec.
This has been the better of the 2 lanes for him, lane 16.
He struck in the 4th, 6th, and 8th right here. Now he needs one in the 11th, 10th, and 11th. A lot of lift. Perfect. This is what it boils down to, Dan. You get one shot to win, and you move on. You lose. You don't strike. You lose and go home. So
powerful game. And a game that he has a lot of confidence in. A very aggressive player. Susan just hopes for one more strike.
A lot of room. Oh. And leaves the blowing 7 pin, and Don Johnson's going to move on, and he can't believe that pin stood.
Well, it took him a while to get back to the championship round. Now he'll have to mop up and gear up for Mickey Spezio, who won last week. Hricsina obviously disappointed, and rightfully so. He bowled about as well as a player could, but Don